So in this episode of Book of the Beast, Dataslates, so we're going to be going over Weirdboys. I'm going to be going more or less in order here. So, Weirdboys are fantastic. The previous books, the Weirdboys, were kind of like an afterthought. They really didn't do much. But now they're very, very good. And the main reason they're really good is demonology. I'm going to say flat out, the orc book powers are okay. In fact, let's go take a look at the orc psychic powers now, before we get into the Weirdboy too much. The power of the Wa. So most of these are going to be some sort of shooting power, whereas before that wouldn't be that great. But since with the new psychic rules, the psyker can shoot at a different unit from the rest of the unit, or during the psychic phase you can shoot separate units. You don't have to charge the unit you shoot with psychic powers. You want more freedom to use the psychic shooting than you did before. So just because they're all shooting powers doesn't really hurt them much, but I think there could have been a lot more variety. I think there's 7 powers, of course, and 2 of them are not shooting powers. I think it's a shame because there's no reason why they couldn't have had a lot more variety, a lot more creativity in the psychic powers. These are just kind of lame, to be honest. So let's talk about the Primaris power. It's a Frazzle, Warp Charge 1, range 24 inch, strength 6, AP 3, small blast. It's no longer an auto hit. It's just a standard ridge fire. So it's going to scatter. It's okay. I mean, AP 3 is nice, strength 3, strength 6, AP 3 is nice. The range is nice. So overall, it's not too bad of a Primaris power. And since you don't have, since you can put them in a unit of boys, you don't have to worry about shooting at the same thing as the rest of the unit. You know, it's not bad. It's not bad. 1 Edbanger, Warp Charge 1. This is a Focus Witchfire, the range of 24 inches. And you must pass a toughness test or take an armor save, take a wound with no armor, or recover saved allowed. But, you know, Focus Witchfires are one of those things that are kind of, you know, hit or miss. I don't know if I'd probably ever take it or use it, but you know, it might be good against like a Commissar. You know, when you get the toughness 3 guys, maybe, but against Space Marines or anything more nasty, you know, it's just not going to be worth it. Warpath. This is by far the best one here, Warpath, and that is +1 attack. +1 attack on his whole unit for his turn, and of course until his next turn. So that's 2 player turns, 1 full turn. You get to keep an extra attack. You put him with Shooter Boys. I've had him with Slugger Boys, and this go off. You know, 5 attacks on the charge. Warpath is outstanding. It's definitely worth taking, especially since it's only Warp Charge 1. It's worth it. There's no doubt about that. And of course, it's a blessing, so you can cast it when you're already in combat and stuff. It's great. Number 3, to jump, is basically like the old Here We Go power. You take off the unit and deep strike them somewhere else on the table. Let's see, Kill Bolt, another shooting attack, Warp Charge 2. Range 18 inch, strength 10, 8, AP 2, type 1, assault 1, and it's a beam. So, again, they've really added a lot of high strength and low AP shooting in this book, which is the one thing they needed to add to it. They took an awful lot away to compromise for it, though, as far as I'm concerned. Number 5, Power Vomit. Again, it's a Witchfire shooting attack. It's basically a strength 7, AP 2 flamer. I don't know how useful that's going to be, because you really don't want your Weirdboy that close to anything to have to shoot it with it, but still, strength 7 AP 2 flamer. I mean, there's no complaints about that at all, except that you have to get close to use it. And number 6, to Crunch. This is a very interesting one. Strength, range 24 inch, 2d6, AP 4, assault 1, large blast, barrage. And this is one that if you roll an 11 or 12, you get to use additional templates, and you get to add additional templates as long as you keep rolling 11 or 12. May not happen very often, but if it does, it could be very interesting, especially since you're rolling 11 or 12, it's strength 10, AP 4, so what is that? That's a barrage. So basically it's a 24 inch range Manticore if you roll 10, 11, or 12. Which could be fun. I don't think it's going to happen very often, but it's not that bad of a power. So let's go back to the Weirdboy. Okay, so Weirdboy is basically knob stats. Strength 4, toughness 4, 2 wounds. Strength 4? Oh, he's strength 4. That's not too bad. So yeah, basically knob stats. 3 attacks, initiative 3. Yeah. He is an independent character, so he can go anywhere. He may be upgraded to a level 2 for 25 points, so that's a 70-point level 2 Psyker. Yeah, it's really cheap. Really, really cheap. Especially if you run multiple detachments, taking 1 or 2 Weird Boys is great. You can take Weird Boys, generate their powers from the Power of the Wall and Demonology. And that's where the Weird Boys really come into play, and that is with Demonology. Summoning demons is awesome. I do it all the time. I'm taking 1 or 2 Weird Boys in every list. In one game I played 1 with each power, and that's when I got the Warpath off. Normally I just take Demonology, and getting free units on the board is never a bad thing. So I would definitely take Malfic Demonology powers with your Weird Boy. Get some demons, get some demonettes, get some screamers, get a bloodthirster, or take the plastic demon prince and paint them up in corn colors. It's a lot cheaper. All those things to get some demons to summon. Free units, you know, especially some things that are as good as demonettes, which are close combat, really awesome close combat models. Really synergize well with the orcs, because you know they're going to be close combat too. So there's the 2 great uses for these summoning things. You can put them in front of your boys, because they deep strike 12 inches in front of the away from the Weird Boy. So if you have them near the front, they go 12 inches in front of that. They can run after they deep strike, and demonettes like get a d6 plus 3-inch run. So like from turn 1 you move up 6, summon 12, they run 9, you know, 7 to 9 inches. These things are right up in their face. These things, I mean, true, they cost me first blood and a whole game once, but that's not the point. Point is, they're in your opponent's face even faster than what the orcs can be. So now you're and everybody hates demonettes. Demonettes are great, especially against marines, guard, anything. They're gonna have to shoot the demonettes in front of you, which means they're not shooting your orcs. If they're shooting your summon creatures instead of your orcs, that is an auto win right there, completely. So if they take a turn or 2 to whittle down a unit of demonettes, sure, they may give up first blood. But now all of a sudden, you know, you've had 2 turns to move and run. Now all of a sudden your army's right on top of them while they've been wasting shots on those demonettes. And, you know, you're very likely going to perils every time you cast a spell. Because on any doubles, they're going to get perils. So usually you're only going to take 1 wound most of the time, from what I've seen. I think it's only on a 1 can you actually be removed entirely. And don't forget, I think one of the powers, a couple of them powers, you have to take a leadership test or take a, and if you pass, you take a wound. If you fail, you don't take a wound. So having some sort of reroll on the leadership test wouldn't be a bad idea for these guys. Like from a warlord trait or something. They also have the ability to generate an extra warp charge if you want to, but if they use this and don't cast a power successfully, then they're going to take a strength 2 hit, which only wounds on a 6, so it's not that big a deal. And he does have a Weird Boy staff. Let's see, War Gear Weird Boy staff, which is basically the same thing as a Crozius, except without the invul save. So it's strength plus 2, AP 4, 2-handed. So he is a base strength 6 in close combat. And, you know, if you use the Warpath power, you know, you got 4 base attacks, 5 on the charge. That's strength 6. Sure, it's only AP 4, but it's strength 6. Yeah, or actually it'd be strength 7 on the charge because of Furious Charge. So, it may not be, you know, very survivable as a close combat because you can't give him cyborg bodies or anything like that. But, you know, he's still got some close combat power, no doubt about that. And it's a force weapon, of course, so you can use that if you want to as one of your powers. So I think that's really all about it for Weird Boys. If you've never played Weird Boys before, I think they're absolutely fantastic. Get yourself some demons, or like I did, I use grots as proxies for demons, for demonettes, just because that's what I had. I've actually bought some, I've bought some demonettes now. I'm gonna start building up a small chaos force to summon. Oh, the other thing was, demonettes, can screen. The other one you might want to consider, or if you roll that particular power, is screamers, the guys with basically melta-bombs. If you're coming up against land raiders, summoning out a few screamers to help take care of that may not be, again, not a bad idea. There's no, other than, you're going to cast 2 powers and it's going to die. So, first turn, cast Demonette, second turn, if you roll possession, go ahead and turn him into a Bloodthirster. Because he's going to die anyway. So, that's about it for the Weirdboy. Excellent choice. I probably wouldn't take him as a Warlord. I'd always take him as a supplemental character. Well worth casting summoning spells for your orcs. And that's it. So that's it for this episode of Book of the Beast, and thanks for watching.